Hi, in this video I'll show you how to sync all the RGB in your gaming PC, not only the RGB in the PC case, but also the other peripherals that you might have, such as mouse and keyboard. Also, make sure to watch until the end, because I will be sharing with you a bonus tip where I will show you how to automate the RGB in your system. So every time you will turn on your computer, it will apply your RGB profiles automatically. First, I am going to show you how to install OpenRGB, which is the software that we are going to use in order to do that. But if you already installed OpenRGB and you just want to know how to sync all the products using the OpenFX plugin, you can just skip to this part of the video. So the first thing that you want to do is to download OpenRGB. So let's go ahead and do that. Just search on Google, download OpenRGB. You'll see the first link, you click on that, and you go and press the download button. This will take you to the download section. Now over here, this is very important. At first, when you see this, it can be a little bit confusing. You can see many different variations over here, but I will show you what kind of a plugin are we going to use. And it is important that the plugin version and the main software version will be the same. So what you want to do next is search on Google OpenRGB FX Plugin. Okay, and you will see the OpenRGB plugins page. And the plugin that we want is this one right over here on the left. Now, as you can see, this one is a 0.9 version, okay? The release is 0.9. And the software that is currently the most up-to-date OpenRGB version is 1.0. Now, if you download 1.0 and you try to use 0.9 plugin, it's just not gonna work. It will say that this plugin is not supported or it's not recognized and stuff like that. So the most important thing, first of all, is to make sure that you download 0.9 in the software itself. So you want to make sure you don't download this one, you download the 0.9 version. Okay, so let's go ahead and download. I will go with Windows 64-bit. This is pretty much the one that most of you are gonna choose. 32-bit is only if you have a system that has 4 gigs of RAM for some reason. But yeah, let's go ahead and download this one. Now you want to unzip the file. Like so. And let's go ahead and put the folder on our desktop. Okay, once we have the folder, what you want to do is open it, and before you open the OpenRGB application, you want to make sure you right-click it, and then you will choose to run it as an admin. And this is very important, because if you don't run the software as an admin, it might not detect all of the peripherals you have. It might detect only some of the components in the system, and the reason why is because Windows has some protection in it that won't allow access to any software to all of your peripherals. So you want to make sure to run it as an admin. That way that Windows knows that you really want to let the software control everything in the system. Let's go ahead and click yes. We'll wait a moment. You will see the software opens up, and immediately you can see that my keyboard lights went off. And the first screen that you will encounter probably will be the name of your motherboard, and you will see 2 zones. In my case it's 2 zones, in your case it might be 1 or 3. And those zones are basically the 3-pin ARGB connector on your motherboard. So it will look something like this. It's just detecting those connectors. These are the connectors where all your RGB components will be plugged in, such as fans or coolers or stuff like that. Now, what you need to put here on the size is actually the number of LEDs that you have in each zone. And when they talk about LEDs, they talk about the individual lights that you have in your fans or coolers or whatever it is you're plugging into. Now you can use this link over here. You can right click it if it doesn't open for you, like for me. You can right click it and then paste it on Google. And over here you can see a list of all the kind of fans and the number of LEDs that they have. Now, if you're not sure or if your fans don't show up in this list, it is okay to just leave it at 0 and it will work just fine, okay? Just the lighting won't be as accurate, but it's totally okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this at 0, save and close. And we can see already all the parts in my system recognized here. So we can see the 2 sticks of RAM that I have. We can see my graphic card. I have a small ASUS TUF logo on my graphics card. We can see my Roccat Burst Pro mouse. This is my motherboard, the B550 from Gigabyte. And it also detects my keyboard, which is right now is completely turned off for some reason. OpenRGB can be a little bit funky, but over here you can already change some colors. So let's say I want a static color and I want it to be, let's say, green. I can do apply to all devices and you can see that everything is in green. But the problem is if you are doing, let's say, a color shift, you will see that when you try to apply it to all devices, it's not working properly. Let's say if I want to do it red, yeah, it is working because it's direct. But if I want to do, let's say, a color wave, it's again going black. It's not working. So what we need in order for that to work, if you want your colors to be like static, then yes, you can just leave it like this and it's totally fine. But if you want some custom lightings and you want the RGB to change lightings by itself and stuff like that, you will need the plugin that I showed you earlier. So let's go ahead and download the effects, OpenRGB Effects Plugin. And again, make sure that the release you have here, it might be different. Make sure that you have the release, the same version as the version that you download the software itself, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and download Windows 64-bit again. I'm gonna save that. Go to our download folder and you will see a DLL file right here which says OpenRGB Effects Plugin 0.9. Okay, and we can see that both the OpenRGB software and the plugin are the same version. Okay, so how do we run the plugin? You want to go ahead to OpenRGB. We're going to click the Settings tab right over here. We'll go to Plugins, and you can see that for me it's already enabled, but what you will need to do is go ahead and click the Install Plugin, and then you will go to your download folder and you will click the DLL file that you just downloaded. Okay, as you can see, for me it says that it's already installed, but for you, it will just install the plugin. And again, if you're downloading a different version, it will just give you an error message and you won't be able to download it. So make sure that's the same version as your software. After you install the plugin, you want to go ahead and close the program and click on OpenRGB again and run as an admin again. We'll close this window again. And now you should see the Effects tab right over here next to the Setting tab. Over here in Effects, you can choose whatever effect you want. Let's say you want a rainbow effect and you wanted to change colors. Color wheel, you just choose this. You can change some settings over here on how it will behave. You want to make sure that this button right here is the dot is on the right side and not on the left side, because then it says then it means that the effect has started. And what you want to do is go ahead and select all the devices that you want that for this effect to take effect. So if I select all the devices right now, you will see that all of my RGB components are synced together and doing what this effect wants. So let's say if I lower the FPS, for example, you can see that it changes color more rapidly. Okay, and if I take the FPS up, then it changes it more slowly. And let's say if I don't want, my mouse and my keyboard not to do that, then I will unselect them, I will stop the effect, and I will start it again. And you can see that my mouse and keyboard does not change lights, but my case does. So this is a very, very cool plugin that you can use, and there's a ton of a bunch of like effects and stuff here that you can use. For example, one of my favorite ones will be something that is called lighting, this one. And as you can see that the more effects that I put, you can stack effects one to each other, and you can stop one effect and then start a different one, but make sure after you start each effect you select everything like so. Sometimes you need to double click it, but you can see that now I have a pretty cool lighting effect with the RGB, and I can change the colors over here. Let's say I want it to be blue, then it's blue. Let's say I want the colors to be random, then it will be random. This is a very, very cool piece of software. Now you can play a lot with this. You can automate it any way you want. You can choose whatever peripherals over here you want. I think OpenRGB even have some additional plugins that have more stuff built into it. You can sync even more hardware and more stuff, and you can schedule things. But the most important thing is to really make sure that you run OpenRGB as an admin. Make sure that the plugins that you download have the same release. So yeah, just make sure and read the info for each plugin that you're going to use to see exactly what it does and how you can use it. And that's pretty much it for this video. Okay, now there's a bonus tip for you. If you want the RGB setting that you set up to be automatically turned on every time you turn on your PC, here is how you do it. So if you don't set this up, every time you turn on your PC, you will have to go to the program and manually set the profile if you save a profile. But there's a cool way to make the program to automatically start at the beginning when you turn on your computer. So first of all, what you want to do is to save the profile in the Effects tab, which is the Plugin Effects tab right over here. So let's say I chose this rotating rainbow effect, as you can see. And then you want to go to Effects, Profiles, and Save. You want to save your profile. Over here I already made a profile, and you want to make sure that this checkbox is checked, Load Profile at Startup. But this is not enough. What we need to do as well is to go to Settings. We want to make sure that Minimize on Close is checked on. This is on the General Settings tab. Then we want to go down and check this Start at Plugin. This will make the program to start when we turn on the computer and Windows is booting up. You want to make sure to check this option as well, Start Minimized. And the reason why we do this and minimize on close as well is because if you close the program and this is not checked, every time you close the program will exit completely and will disable the RGB effects. Now, every time the computer will boot on, it will open the program and it will minimize it instead of closing it, so the RGB effect will stay on. And I will demonstrate that in a second. But the second thing we need to do is to go and to load a profile over here as well. And as you can see, this one is grayed out. We can't really pick a profile right now. What we want to do is to save a profile here as well. This is the main program profile. So let's go ahead and call this profile 1, for example. Okay, and now you can see it's showing up. So again, you want to make sure that minimize on close is checked on, start at login, start minimized, and set profile on exit. Okay, and you should be able to check this one as well. Sometimes it's bugged and you can't really check it, but I did test it. Even if you don't check it, it will still work if you follow the steps that I told you. But after one boot, you will be able to check this option as well, and it will be completely fine. Okay, so now that we did that, let's go ahead and restart our PC and let's see if it works. Now remember that the profile will load only when you boot inside Windows. So when the computer is just turned on, you might see that the RGB is kind of mixed up and it's not how it's supposed to be. Remember, because it depends on the software. It waits for the software to load up, and also when you get into Windows, it does take a few seconds, even a good minute or two, until it actually opens the program. And because we set it up in a way where it's minimized, you won't see a window opened. What you will see is the system tray icon right over here, and it will automatically open the program and minimize it without you doing anything. And as you can see, it loaded up the RGB profile that we set up. And if I go inside the program, you can see the profile that we set up is loaded, as well the effects profile. And if you go to settings now, you can also check this box. So again, I will show this one more time. Let's try with a different effect just to see if we change something and we save it, if it actually works. So let's say I want a crossing beam effect, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and disable this one. Check this, the crossing beam one. Let's go ahead and remove the previous one. We will double click select all, okay, to apply our effect. And I think I chose a weird effect over here. There it is. Okay, we have a glow. I'm not exactly sure what this effect does. Okay, it has this kind of weird two color changing theme to it, I guess. Okay, we can pick a blue and then let's pick a red one. Yeah, I think that looks alright, I guess. Something like that. Just for demonstration purposes, you know. Okay, so let's go ahead and save the profile. I am going to delete the profile on the main software. Okay, and I'm going to save this again. So let's say profile 2 now. And want to make sure that profile 2 is loaded in our settings. And let's go ahead and restart the computer and see if it stayed on or not. Okay, so as you can see, again, the RGB is reset to its default. Yours might look different when you first boot up the PC. But let's see what happens when it's booting up into Windows. Okay, now we are inside Windows, and remember it does take a few moments for the program to load up and open itself and minimize it. Again, I'm not doing anything. Let's see if it will work or not. Okay, there it is. Okay, it kinda did only half of the stuff. This software can be a little bit buggy, so let's see exactly what happened here. Okay, if we go over here and do load profile, yeah, then now it works. So yeah, if you open the program and you click the load profile, it will fix the profile and work as you want it to. Sometimes the software can be a little bit buggy, and remember this is an open source software, so your mileage may vary. Some effects can be a little bit buggy at startup, but what you can do is after the computer has booted up, you can easily go ahead and open the software from the icon tray, and just click on load profile, and then it will be fixed. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to type in the comments down below, and I hope this will work fine for you. And again, don't forget, it can be a little bit buggy, so be patient with it. And if you need any help, type in the comments down below. I will do my best to help you. All right, have a good one, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.